Let's get started, folks. All right. Here we go, folks. I am Lindon Crow, for those that don't know me. Just right off the bat, today is not going to be your average personal development Zoom call. Why? Because I am the president of Productive Learning. But more important than that, I am someone who has spent the last 15 years obsessed with a very specific thing, helping people break out of their unconscious loops that keep them stuck. This could be in business, this could be relationships, this could be self-worth, leadership. If it feels like you keep repeating the same scene with different actors, you are in the right place. This work isn't just a job for me. This is part of my mission. I am here to eliminate unnecessary suffering because I think life throws enough curveballs without us adding our own drama into the mix. Today is not about fixing you. None of our workshops are about fixing you. It's about giving you the awareness, the tools, and the space to see what is really running the show, and then helping you reclaim some of that power, some of that agency to choose something better, something maybe more bold, something likely more core to who you really are, at least the version of you that you want to be. So, we're not going to tweak the old story. We're going to rewrite our stories. Sound good? Nods of heads. Yeah, right on. Okay. If you want to work with me, get ready, buckle up. Here we go. On a scale of 1 to 10, how different do you want your life to look like 1 year from now? Type it into the chat. 1 would be no different. I like it. I'm in. 10 would be I could flip this thing on its head. I would be welcome to that. And maybe I'm not exactly sure how. Oh, look at it. I got old friends that I haven't seen in a while. Hi, Debbie. Nice to see you. Now, the question is, as you put your 7s and 8s, which is such a non-committal number, everyone just goes for that 7 or 8, right? Oh, but who put the 10? There we go. I like it, Debbie. That's good. The question is, what are you willing to let go of to make that happen? Okay. Let's get honest. You keep doing the same thing you said you wouldn't do anymore, and you swore it off. You even had a breakthrough, maybe, or maybe you've had 5, but then you are here in the same pattern, the same cycle, the same, whatever that is. And let me tell you why. It's not because you're broken. Like I said, I don't believe that anyone here is broken. It's not because you are weak. It's not because you are incapable. It's because you're not even stuck necessarily. You're just programmed. See, your past doesn't stay in the past. Every experience you've had, every heartbreak, every win, every time someone didn't show up the way you needed them to, it left behind meaning. It left behind an imprint. Your brain stored it like, oh, this is how the world works. This is how I should do this. And that meaning turned into beliefs. Those beliefs turned into then emotional residue. And now those residues are all of your filters for how you see the world. They decide, those filters, who you trust, how you react, what you avoid, what you chase, what you sabotage. And then here's the kicker. Most of those filters were installed when you were way too young to challenge them. Every choice you made in the last week had the fingerprints of your 7-year-old self in it, that inner kid that's driving with their hands on the wheel. And listen, that kid could have been smart. That kid could have been resourceful, creative as hell. But they did what they had to do to survive, to feel safe, and to feel love from the innocence and the naivety of a 7-year-old. But you are not 7 anymore. And yet you're still running on the coding, on the programming of a 7-year-old. That's why you keep getting blindsided by the same dynamic. That's why your romantic relationships feel like deja vu. That's why your confidence craters when things start to get real and heavy. Patterns repeat not because you're dumb, but because your unconscious is efficient. It is the job of the mind to automate. It is your job, a conscious creature, to interrupt. So that's what we're doing here. We are not fixing you. We're not healing your inner child with fairy dust. We're updating the code with eyes wide open, with clarity, and then with choice. Because the minute that you realize, oh, this reaction doesn't serve me, it's my programming, you unlock the door to real change. You stop reacting to the past from it, and you start creating from what is happening right now. Okay? So I'd like you all take a moment and write down one area in your life where you feel stuck or you keep repeating the same kind of outcome. Again, it could be different characters, but the same stage, the same play. One area of your life where you feel stuck or keep repeating the same outcome. As you write that, I'd like you to think, what does that remind you of? Where did I learn this? Who taught me this? Romantic relationships, great. Body health, great. Where did this come from? Let's say that this programming was tapped in from some other source, and you were the one that pushed enter and accept. Where did this come from? Okay. What I want to show you is the loop. Dun, dun, dun. This is the loop. This is what we are going through nonstop all the time. What happens is, whether you know it or not, the world creates some type of stimulus and it triggers us. That triggered experience creates the combination of a thought and a feeling. Those thoughts and those feelings are swirling through you. They fuel us to take an action, to behave in a certain way, and then there's a result from that behavior. We make a communication and then the world responds. We pick up the phone and make the phone call, the world responds. We say, yes, Netflix, I am still watching, even though I should get my ass off the couch and work out. Whatever it is, there's a result, right? Now, as that result goes back through the system, your mind, because you are a conscious, aware being, looks at that result and it reinforces an initial belief. Now, that's the loop. That's the play that your nervous system keeps running over and over again. Here's my own work that I'm working on, and I'm going to tell you about myself because you're going to see that it's not just one loop and that's it. There's constant loops happening. One that I'm working on that I continuously work on is I want to launch a new program within productive learning. But the staff will, my thought is here, the staff will not want to do this. They'll resist it. They'll say why it doesn't work. And then what I can feel myself wanting to do is either pull back, not assert myself, not put my vision out there and push forward with doing it. And instead of helping them to get bought onto the vision, I think, well, let me just go do it on my own. So I'll pull back, I'll grind through it with grit, figure it out on my own. And then the result is some half-ass accounting of what this team could be possible of. And so then I get a slow, moderate growth, nothing that blows minds. And what does that reinforce for me is that I have to work hard and I have to do it myself. Okay, so there's my loop. I want you guys, as you work through this process today and afterwards, and if you want to talk with me on a coaching call, I'm happy to do that. I want you to plug in the result that you're not happy with right now into your loop and fill that loop out. Because you can't change the loop that you cannot see. Make sense? You cannot change the loop that you cannot see. This isn't about working harder. It's not about just to think positive over the top. It's about seeing the loop, catching it in mid-spin, calling it out before it drags you into another rerun of last year's drama. And here's your aha moment. It is not sabotage. The reason that you're in the loop is not sabotage. It's protection in disguise. It's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to protect something that's inside of you, something scary, something sacred. So when you keep ghosting opportunities, or you keep picking emotionally unavailable partners, or you keep blowing up the thing that's gonna start working, it's not because you're addicted to failure. It's because you are addicted to familiarity. The upset you feel, or the loneliness you feel, or the hollow win you feel, or the struggle you feel, or the I'm just behind all the time you feel, that is what you are addicted to. And the loop is serving that. The system is getting acknowledged and it's checking the box off. The system doesn't care. The system, meaning you, doesn't care if you're happy. It cares if you are safe. And familiar feels safe, even if it sucks. You may say, oh, but I'm lonely and I'd be much more safe if I had somebody else in my life. The system is familiar with being alone. Look at how many decades you've been alone for. You're totally fine. But I'd be much safer if I made more money, and if I got out there and I sold and I sold and I sold and I went up the career path and the ladder and I went and did it. I have more money and then I'd be safer. That's new. You've struggled your whole life. You've been doing that for decades. That's safe, familiar. Do you get that? Familiarity is the goal of the system, and your loop is serving that. So what do? We get curious. We've got to trace our loop. We've got to name the belief that it reinforces. And we ask, what is it protecting? What am I protecting within myself? That question and that answer is for another conversation. But that is where we all need to go to. We are protecting ourselves from something. So then, what is the breakthrough? Remember, it's not fixing you, because I believe that we are all whole. So if it's not fixing, then it is truly understanding yourself. Because the moment that you see you, the moment that you see the loop, that you see the pattern, you create opportunity. You create a moment unlike any other in all of existence. Why? Because no other species and natural human programming don't create the opportunity of pure choice. All other species react much closer to Pavlov's salivating dogs. Stimulus response, stimulus response, stimulus response. But you know, in that moment that you see the loop, you open up choice, stimulus, and you pause before the response. That moment right there, that is choice. That is what you could create if you know your loop. But we have to bring what is unconscious to the conscious. We have to trace that loop. We have to understand what we are protecting. Follow me? Nods of heads, thumbs up all around. Yes, fantastic. Okay, hopefully we have some Matrix fans here. Anybody a Matrix fan? Come on, 90s. There we go. There we go. If not, let me fill you in on why this movie has so many personal growth metaphors in it. It's like the Wachowski brothers took productive learning and then made a futuristic dramatization of personal growth. It's freaking awesome on so many levels, okay? It's also got some great sci-fi. Let me paint a scene for you. There's a guy named Thomas Anderson, played by none other than Keanu Reeves. And he is a boring, mediocre dude in a boring, mediocre cubicle job. By night, he is a computer hacker with a whispering desire that lives in him of something more, but with no idea how to get it. And not really any chutzpah to push and to pursue it. He's passively hoping. Anybody resonate? Then, maybe by circumstance, maybe by providence, he has a glimpse of a path. He's told to look for a sign, and lo and behold, the sign appears. Those that remember what the sign is in the opening scene, the white rabbit. The fact that the sign appears means nothing, and I will tell you why in a bit. The meaning and pivot out of the loop that he is in, which is a wake up, coffee, cubicle, go home, hacker job, sleep, repeat. Wake up, coffee, cubicle, go home, hacker job, sleep. That, instead of denying the sign, he affirms it and says, as only super cool Keanu Reeves can say, yeah, sure, I guess. And then he goes and he follows the sign. How is my Keanu Reeves? You like that? Right? Pretty good. Pretty good. Now, why does the sign of him taking a new path not have much meaning, and it's only his choice that makes it powerful? Do you follow me? Why is the sign that he sees, that doesn't actually hold any meaning? It's his choice that makes it meaningful. The reason is because the signs to wake the hell up are everywhere in your life. In the following scene, Trinity, who is a badass chick who becomes his sidekick and his lover, says, the feeling that something is off is the signal. It's not the problem. See, most of us are walking around in life thinking that politics are the problem, and the school systems are wrong, and my coworkers are the problem, and my eating habits are wrong. We're just not seeing that those thoughts, those body ailments, those incessant thoughts are the signal to wake the hell up and get out of your loop. You don't give in. You don't comply because that's what you've always done. And you don't go try to fix the thing because you've been probably trying 100 times over, and then maybe now you're just resigned to it happening. Life could be experienced as heaven on earth, as deep, loving connection, as strong and powerful creation of great feats. Anything less than that is the erroneous programming of historical loops that we let continue to run. So I say it's time to wake up to the fact that those upsets, that those irritations, those extra pounds we have, or the resistances to say what we mean, those are all moments to get off your loop. Those are all the signals of the path. Those are all what Thomas Anderson, who then becomes Neo, saw when he saw the white rabbit and he decided to follow it. All of those things going on in your system. That's the world giving you opportunities left and right. And so it's therefore your choice to be super cool like Keanu Reeves and say, yeah, sure, I guess, and then take the path. And choice is when the pattern breaks and there is a new one, a new thing that can begin. Okay. So in our upcoming year-long, Your Brave Self, we go into this in depth, but I'm going to give you an overview of it, and I can talk you through on a coaching call if you would like. So what I want you to do is take the situation that you wrote down a few minutes ago and break it into this loop and into our chat so that you can read them, and I'll also say them out loud for those that are just going to listen. What the trigger is what happened? What was the event? What was the thing that actually woke you up a little bit? And then there was a thought that came. What immediately came to mind? Was it about them? Was it about you? What was it? And then there was a feeling, and a physical and emotional feeling in your body. Where did you feel it? What happened? Inside of you. And then there was an action or an inaction. What did you do or what did you not do? What did you avoid? And then because you did or didn't do something, there was a result. What happened? What was the outcome? And now the clue in here is the belief. What did you make mean about yourself or the world? Because that whole loop just happened. And I want us to find out what belief in this loop is outdated, but it is still driving the bus. There's more work to be done there. That work is done in some of our coaching or on our retreats or in that Your Brave Self year-long. But for now, you seeing the loop is the goal. Now let's talk about power in this for a moment. Not the kind of power that comes from job titles or paychecks or who talks the loudest in a meeting. I'm talking about real power, the kind that puts you back in charge of your life. You want power? Power is that space. The more space you create between the stimulus and the response, the more you're actually running your own life. If you do not see space, then you are running by your old programming. Most people, zero space. Something happens, boom, they react. Someone says something, gives them a look, doesn't respond fast enough, and suddenly they're spiraling. They're snapping, they're shutting down, they're playing small, they're playing a victim, they're being angry and aggressive, whatever their reactionary state is. Fight, flight, appease, whatever you are. Stimulus, straight to response. But there's no power in there. There's no true creation. There's programmed automation. Awareness is the pattern disruptor. The second that you see what's happening inside you, because you see the loop, the moment you name it, you are no longer just acting it out. You are bringing a meta consciousness on top of your life. If you go back to the Matrix, this is when Neo began to see the Matrix. He wasn't in it anymore and confined by it. He saw that he was in and around the Matrix and therefore could manipulate the Matrix. It's that pause. That's your entry point. That's the exact moment where choice becomes possible. And here's the kicker. A belief, unchallenged, becomes a destiny fulfilled. A belief unchallenged becomes a destiny fulfilled. Your life, when living stimulus to response, will just feel like you were destined to have no relationship, no growth, struggle with income, struggle with health. It will feel like that was destined because it is unconscious to you. The loop is unconscious and it is just reaction. And all you can do is look into your past to say, yep, see, that's what happened. Consciousness gives you the ability to see, yep, that's what happened. And here is now. And how do I want to shift it? If you've got a belief that's running that I am not enough, or I always mess it up, or people leave, or success isn't safe, and you never call it out, it will shape your future. You will prove it to be right again and again. And it's not because it's true, mind you, but it's because it is familiar to you. So you want to shift, yeah? Everybody wants to shift. That's why they came onto this freaking call. Like, what the heck, Lindon? Let's freaking shift, shall we? Okay, well, you got to stop living on autopilot. You got to start naming what's actually running the show. And if you don't know what it is, then get yourself a coach, get into a workshop, do the work, and wake up. You'll be able to start saying, I see you, see me. I know the story that's about to play out, and I'm not going to play that today. That would be what's waking up. It's not full-blown transformation in one breath. That's not what I am promising you. And if anybody's promising you full-blown transformation in one breath, that is snake oil, I would run the other direction. What I am promising you with your work and our team, or wherever you do this, a crack in the pattern. And from there, space. And from space, choice. That's the beginning of a life that isn't built from your past. It's built from your power. Let's take that moment. Understand that that moment is powerful. Make that space happen. Okay, now I want you to look at your loop, however much you filled in. Maybe you filled in something, maybe you've not filled in anything, that's fine. Take a minute and revisit that pattern loop and ask, what else could be true? Not some airy-fairy fabricated, oh, the world is rainbows and unicorns. I mean, what else is true to you, but it's different from that loop? If you need a different way of asking that question, you could say, who are you becoming? The loop is who you were. So who are you becoming? Let that one sink in. I'm going to go back to The Matrix because it's such a great movie, guys. And again, what's great about it is that Thomas Anderson, aka Neo, right, Keanu Reeves, he didn't have to make one choice. Like it wasn't just about the one choice like I spoke about in the opening scene about following the white rabbit. Once he made that choice, seeing the pattern, seeing the loop just became easier and easier until it became second nature, until he could see the matrix. But what happens when you see it? Do you remember? There's no inherent meaning in just seeing it. You have to choose differently. You have to choose to step off it and be or act or do or behave differently. And Neo continued to make the choice to stay off the old path. Each time grew stronger. He grew stronger and stronger and more powerful. He gained more ability to not be confined by the rules of the world, but instead rewrite his programming. So once you see it, it doesn't mean you're done. You made the choice and now your life is going in a new trajectory. No, what that means is you are building a muscle of practicing seeing the loop so that it's easier and easier and easier to see the loop. You still have to make the goddamn choice. It's hard work, folks. Consciousness is not what the system is programmed to do. Unconsciousness. That's what it's made to do. The system is here to automate and to try to use as little amount of energy as possible. And that is an unconscious life. And if you had programming that set you up to have deep relationships, massive amounts of money, wonderful sex, great health, fantastic. Go unconscious, dude. Live it up, man. I don't know anybody that's like that. They may have programming in certain areas. Those of you that know people that just seem to make boatloads of money, and it doesn't seem to be hard for them. They got programming on how to make money. Those of you that know people that are just great at relationships, they have deep and many plentiful relationships. They got programming that's unconscious to them, likely, that has them just create that. Wonderful. Amen to them. But those people also have other areas in their life. Their loop keeps them in something small, something less powerful. I want us to create consciousness in the areas where we are no longer wanting to play small. We want to be more. We want to be bigger. We want to be more powerful. We want more of something. I say amen to that. Let's go for it. Let's figure it out. But we've got to go and see the loop that we're playing in. Okay. Many of you didn't raise your hand about The Matrix. Fine. I'll move to a Disney movie. Moana, because Moana is also badass. Moana had to choose to leave her island of Motunui, right? Her inner spirit, which was represented by her grandma Tala, kept saying, you must go follow your heart. And finally, she chose. And then, if you recall, she had a setback. Maui didn't want her. And then she chose again. And then she had another setback. She had little coconut people come after her. And then she had to choose again. What makes Moana such a badass like Neo is that when they got caught in their loop, when they had the ability to go back to their loop, to go back to the old way, they didn't succumb. They didn't say, well, we gave it a good shot, didn't we? You know, let the Matrix take over. Let the machines take over. Oh, you know what? What was it? Taka, the lava monster, just ruin the entire world. We tried. No, they stood back up and they chose again. Every movie that we get inspired to tears is because they get knocked on their ass and then they choose again. And then they get knocked on their ass and they choose again. I mean, Rocky got knocked on his ass so many times in so many movies, right? But we still go and watch all the movies, right? That's the badass fight scene with Neo and Agent Smith in the subway when Neo stands up to his opponent and all of his buddies are looking on the computer screen like, what's he doing? Why is he fighting? It's because he's choosing to be off the loop. That's the heart-pounding scene, if you remember, in Moana when she decides to still fight Taka, the lava monster, even though Maui decides to bow out. She says, I have to do it. I can't go back home. Even though my dad and my old programming says go back home, I have to follow my heart. I have to follow what Grandma Tala says. I have to follow what I believe is right. And she chooses. And she gets knocked off. And then, you know, Maui comes and saves the day. If you think it's hard to keep choosing, I want to make sure that I am clear. You are right. It is not easy. It's easy vegging out as you scroll through social media for 40 minutes and it will mindlessly bring you no health or prosperity or joy or sustenance to your life. It's easy deciding to just order the dessert because why not? I worked hard today, even though you're trying to lose weight. It's easy avoiding your coworker because you don't want to bring up what you saw. Easy is lame, folks. Easy is mind-numbing. Taking the easy route doesn't make you a hero to your own story. It makes you the victim to it. Doing the hard thing, the brave thing, that's fucking powerful. That is heroic. And what I've experienced and I know our clients do is the more you take those brave steps, the more familiar and natural bravery becomes. The organizations that do trainings with us on a regular basis, they see their communications and relationships within the organization increase in productivity. There's less politicking and overall more satisfaction. And the longer that we stay with them, and some we've been working with for over 20 years, the more they see us as an integral part of their hero story. They see bravery and making the hard choices, but the healthier ones, as more natural to them. So it's back to you, okay? Back to you. If your life 1 year from now is radically better, if you wake up grounded and focused and fulfilled and free, what does that version of you feel like? What's your emotional baseline? If you woke up grounded and feeling brave to constantly make the decisions in your life that led you towards what you want, how would you feel? What would your inner dialogue be when somebody spilt coffee or you got rejected or something happened? How would you approach those hard things? Confidence, abundance, grounded, enthusiastic. Love it. That version of you that you are thinking about, that you are writing about, hopefully, that version of you already exists. And how do I know this? Because you are listening to this message right now. It was the whisper inside of you that said, there's something more out there. Go find it. But here's the truth bomb. You don't need more discipline. What you need is alignment. Because when you are aligned with your future self, everything changes. It's like having a yonder star where you can continue to tack towards it, constantly making a choice. Every time you're tacking, you're constantly making a choice. It's not one choice. Sailing never goes in a straight line. You'd stop muscling your way through habits that you hate. You'd start moving with purpose and not pressure. Every action becomes a vote. Every choice is a ballot cast for who you want to be. So are you voting for the old system or are you voting for the new one? Because let's be real, your current life is just the sum total of votes you've already cast. Tiny daily decisions that either reinforce your past or build your future. So let's do a nice close process. Close your eyes. Fast forward again, 1 year from today. Who is that version of you? Physically, how do they carry themselves? Where are their shoulders? Where is their core? When you feel yourself in that posture, what do you believe about yourself? And maybe most importantly, what does it feel like? We need to become familiar with that feeling. Anchor that feeling. What is that feeling? Where is that? Take a nice big deep breath in. Let it out. So here's the part, you can open your eyes now. Here's the part where most people want the next step. They want the how, right? They want the strategy. They want the checklist. They want to skip to the part where it's all figured out. But what if the shift doesn't start with doing? What if it starts with asking a different question? I'm going to leave you with this. If your current system keeps producing the same results, maybe it's time to stop tweaking the outcome and start upgrading the entire operating system. So what I want you to do, I want you to email me, lindona@productivelearning.com. And I want to go through your loop with you. I want you to be able to own and label your loop so that you can spot it and have that moment, that choice moment where Moana decides to keep going, where Neo decides to stand up, right? Where Rocky decides to keep getting his ass kicked, whatever it is. There's a common thought that you are the 5 people you hang around the most. And I think that many of us are unfortunately surrounded by people that are stuck in their own drama, in their own storyline of mediocrity, in their own blind spots. What I find amazing and powerful about productive learning is the community we are is filled with people that are striving. We are all dancing towards our goals. We are all pushing towards and accomplishing greatness. We are all bringing mindfulness to ourselves. Surround yourselves with mindfulness so that you constantly breed the opportunity in front of you. Remember, the signal and the sign and the paths are all present all the time. If you don't see it, that's on you. Surround yourself with people that are spotting the path, seeing the opportunity. Each of my employees are striving for greatness in their own beautiful way. And we've made taking the brave steps of moving that towards more familiarity in our lives. And that can happen for you too, but you have to make the choice to make the move. I do not believe this is a passive growth opportunity to create consciousness in your life. You've got to make the choice. Those that want to step out of the loop, email me, lindona@productivelearning.com. And in the subject line, say, I choose bravery. And that'll get me pumped up and jacked up and ready to go at it with you all. So I hope I have inspired the whisper inside of you that had you decide to step onto this call. I hope I have inspired that whisper to be a little bit louder. I love you all. Thank you for listening.